Hi, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi, and this video is about an update for the travel ban for Iranians, in particular for minorities in Iran who may have an exception to the immigrant visa portion of the travel ban. Now, before we get started, two notes. One is this is not intended as individual legal guidance. You should consult with an attorney about your case. This is just some general advice. And secondly, we're going to have a lot of people contacting me to help them try to get national interest exceptions to the travel ban. Frankly, there's not much I can do. So if you do email me, don't be surprised if I say there's nothing I can do to help. The best thing we can help with is people just their underlying case, initial thing that they do, they mess up with their affidavit of support, their background documents, birth certificates, all these kind of things that I have problems with. And we help with the general immigration case that every person coming to America has, which Iranians a lot of times mess up, send it to the wrong embassy, this and that. We help there, but with regard to this travel ban specific, as I'm recording this, there's nothing much I could do there other than talk with you or try to identify stuff or help build your mindset of how to deal with it. But there's limits to what I can do. So a lot of people who are contacting me on this, there's not much I can do, but just give you a heads up on that. If you do want to contact us, go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. Okay, so what's the big news here? There's a friend's law firm, a great law firm, Red Eagle Law Firm. Curtis Morrison is one of the attorneys, has been suing the government a lot over the last decade. And you might have seen him on Twitter and stuff. He's doing a lot of lawsuits against what's happening to Iranians. So he's very famous in the Iranian community. But in one of the lawsuits, he was able to win a Freedom of Information Act request to get private communications cables that the State Department has to the embassies. So they send it out to information on how to deal with this travel ban because the government just passed a travel ban. But it's like, how does it actually work out? And through these cables, these messages that they send, one on June 8th, that was sent out that broke down what this travel ban is about. And they were told the consulates that there's not much you could do for people in these kind of situations. So they're limited. Now, if you're a dual citizen, you're Iranian, for example, and you have English citizenship, you can still come in through the English citizenship. If you're traveling for a sports competition, there's an exemption for that. If you're coming for the FIFA World Cup, Olympics, or other major sport events, they leave it there. But on June 9th, they issued a document for a message about national interest exceptions. Now, I'm just hearing myself talk. I know a lot of Iranians are going to be like, you talk too fast. Sorry about that. I talk Farsi fast too, but I get excited. I want to get the stuff out. YouTube has a way to go half speed, so I definitely do that. But they told these missions on the June 9th cable that unfortunately, these exemptions should be issued very rarely. And that's why I'm not optimistic about being able to do something about the exception unless there's something really big that we can show. And that's going to create a lot of work just trying to put it together. And who knows if they'll even bother listening or spending the time to do anything. So that's why they said it's rare. And it has to be framed in an America first, quote unquote, America first terms to allow exceptional circumstances. How does it benefit America? Now, they said urgent medical treatment's okay. Even before the travel ban, for Iranians to get urgent medical treatment has been hard, so it's going to be difficult. Law enforcement cooperation, that's going to be rare. And participation in professional sporting competition we talked about is there. But they said visits for family, seeing family, education, or routine business is explicitly ruled out. A connection to U.S. citizen is not sufficient grounds for a national interest exception. So we have a lot of people, F1 students, they might have been in the middle of their PhD course, they left, they want to come back in, they can't. It's crazy, but they can't unless maybe you show the research you're doing is in the national interest. But I don't know. Last time around travel ban, it wasn't working out. I'm not optimistic it will work out here. Now, they had a third or fourth cable come out, 3 or 4 on June 16th, again about major sports and competitors and their relatives coming, for example, in the Los Angeles Olympic Games, the World Cup, and that kind of stuff. But that obviously that won't apply to many people. And the fourth one, which is like going to potentially get a lot of people because Iran has so many minority groups, is dated July 18th. And it's a issuance of guidance on the ethnic and religious minority exception. So if you're going to get an immigrant visa, not a temporary visa, but a green card, and you're part of an ethnic or religious minority Iran facing persecution, you're potentially exempt from it. Now, I have some Zoroastrian cases. We're waiting for the embassy interview. It takes forever. We'll see how that works out. And because of all these delays, it's hard to get people that meet these criteria and have it happen. So this is all really fresh. But they said that if you're Ahwazi Arab, Baha'i, Kurd, Jews, I'll say in Persian accent, Christian, Sufi, and I was surprised. I thought Sufi was a Turkish, like in Turkey thing. I didn't realize Iranian is a Sufi. Sunni or Zoroastrian, Zoroastrian. They said that you don't need to show individualized persecution. But consular officers are told to document evidence and cite State Department human rights reports. So essentially, say you need to show that I'm Zatoichi, I'm Zoroastrian. I don't have individual, but we get persecuted generally. Now you got to find documentation of this. It's not easy, and then want the officers to do it. But you should be there to talk, because inevitably, if you're one of these groups, you're not going to have access to certain education, certain jobs. People are going to potentially treat you wrong, and Iran. I don't know. I haven't lived here, but it is what it is. So there might be racism and anti-religious stuff. Your Baha'i obviously is going to be really easy to prove that. But to have be able to talk about this stuff, to get an exception under this under the travel ban exception requirement for immigrant visas. So after that, we don't have much information. That's it. But if you're one of these minority groups, Arab was an interesting one that was added. Sufis was interesting. Sunni Muslims. But Zoroastrians, I was on the line whether they're going to be open to that, but it seems they are. Baha'i, Jews, obviously, and Kurds, that's a large population right there. So be able to show ties to these communities might be easier sometimes than other times. For example, our Zoroastrian clients have ID cards that say they're Zoroastrian. Baha'i people, I'm like, the International Baha'i Association might have some records. You might not want to keep records because it's dangerous. Kurds, maybe on their last name, where they're from in the area. So you have to know your individual background to be able to document your relationship to these things. Christians will be hard because it's underground. You might have to have associations or churches or something to write that. They're doing Christian Iranians really badly here in LA. They're picking them up even if they have an asylum case pending. So it's not a wild situation that's happening right now, but I wanted to share this information that you have right here. I'm going to, in the notes below, have a link to the article where this came out. It's a website called Migrant Insider, a great colleague, or it's not an immigration lawyer, but it's a colleague who's posting about the news, and he posted about this release, and I wanted to read it and share with you to just hear how it is. You could download from Red Eagle Law as well. Curtis Morris's law firm has a lot of great information about people who are suing the government for delays. He's had some success there and is continuously fighting, especially from what I hear, in the green card lottery aspect. So again, I hear myself talking really fast. I apologize, but I get excited. I talk really fast when it comes to immigration law. You could half exit, and hopefully this video is catching up. My video is freezing on my side. So God bless, be safe, and I hope you all best and ability to come and live with your loved ones in the United States. Bye-bye.